Okay, and we're live. Cool. So welcome everybody to the second day, or I guess second cast, because it's been like 3 days, of the U.S. Masters first round matchup pairings. We're going to do exactly what we did on the previous cast, where we run through the players on tables 12 through 22. I have that right? Yeah, 12 through 22. We're going to go over their lists, who's playing what, where they're from, if we know any anecdotal stories about them, and then we'll give you a rough kind of discussion about what we think that matchup is going to play out about. Again, this is all for fun. There's nothing official. If you lose these games, nobody's going to take your family out back and shoot them in the head. Nothing is at stake. This is all a game. It's not serious. So with that in mind, if you have thin skin, you may get upset by some of the stuff that people say, especially what Jeff says. So
what?
What? What? Hey man. So it's all for fun. We're all just goofing around. This isn't official. It doesn't really matter. We're just doing this to kind of hype up the Masters and get everybody ready for San Antonio, which is less than 2 weeks away at this point. That's crazy.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do too, brother.
We've got, what, a month, right?
Yeah, you wish. You might need to get on it more than anybody else. You got a lot of shit to do. All right, with that said, let's run through and let's do some introductions. So you guys, I'll just call out names, give a little introduction about yourself and why you're here and what you're going to do, and we'll kind of bounce through it. So we'll start with Jeremy Duvall because he's the first person I see on the feed.
Hey, I'm Jeremy Duvall. I am the West Chair for the West region, and I'm on Countercharge, and excited to see some lists. So let's get this going.
Nice. Ryan Smith.
Howdy, I'm Ryan Smith. I run the Alamo Grand Tournament. I'm a part of the beer phase. I drink beer, paint models, and occasionally roll dice. I'm also one of the hosts of the tournament.
Yes, you are. Mr. Ryan Munsell.
I'm Ryan Munsell. I am the chair of the Pacific Northwest, and I will be painting throughout some of this recording. So, yeah.
It worked well the first time.
Sweet, he's given me permission to.
Yes, you can absolutely do it, Ryan. Mr. Patrick Zoro Allen.
I'm Patrick Allen, former U.S. Master. I will be producing the stream for the tournament.
All right. Mr. Michael Pearcy.
Hey, I'm Michael Pearcy. I'm going to be one of the commentators for the live stream of the Masters in a couple weeks.
So we're all going to be sick of your voice by the end of that week. Speaking of people we're sick of, Matt Carmack.
Hey, I'm Matt Carmack. I'm going to be the other commentator for the U.S. Masters once that gets started.
And last but certainly least, Jeff Swann.
I'm Jeff Swann. I'm the chair of this couch that I'm sitting on from the south.
Couch your chair.
I also host with these two idiots on Beer Face podcast, so that's why I'm here.
All right, we got that out of the way. Let's do the drinking phase, and then we'll hop into lists. So what is everybody drinking, and what are you drinking out of?
I guess I'll start, since I do this the right way. I am drinking out of my Hop Fusion glass here, and I am drinking my Contract Killer, which is a coffee stout that, or coffee porter that my friend Mark brought back from me from his Houston trip.
College Station trip.
College Station. Same thing.
I'll go real quick. I've got a Black Eye Vodka shot glass. And I've got a bottle of Black Eye Vodka. So I'm going to be doing this throughout the evening, which is a really good decision because I've got to get up at like 4 a.m. and go work out, which is a bad decision. So, Ryan, I know you're drinking. What are you drinking? Either Ryan.
I am drinking Boy King Imperial IPA from Coast Brewing Company in Charleston, South Carolina. I am drinking it out of a Thomas Creek Brewing Company glass just because I want to give Lennon Roy a goddamn orgasm. I'm not going to say how it is.
You can hear him coming from all that way away.
And then
oh my God! Just review the beer. Tell me how it is.
Jeremy, what you got?
I am drinking a Sour Heads flavor Bang energy drink. And you know your energy drink is serious when on the back there's an recommended only for those 18 or older.
Oof.
So, what are you
don't have a
mixing
heart
it
attack.
with? Make it a man's drink.
I'm out of the last time I ran out of Black Eye. I'm done. It's empty. The bottle is finished. So you guys need to help me. You need to help me solve that problem here in a couple weeks.
You can do that. Anybody else got alcohol?
I'm drinking mezcal out of just a cocktail glass, and also on an empty stomach. So we'll see how long I can last.
We're really gonna get the wrong list here.
I am continuing to drink Crown Royal XO out of a pint glass.
Nice.
Nice. Well
I didn't
done.
know you liked Crown. I'll have to bring you some.
I'm a Crown fan.
I'm working on the same pack from Friends and Allies Brewing, a IPA called Noisy Cricket out of my Alamo Draft House Black Panther pint glass.
Nice. It's your turn,
I'm
Ryan.
drinking water out of a plastic cup.
Oh,
So
that's
how
gonna be
is
downer.
the Bud Light?
How was the Bud Light?
I
All
hear
right.
it doesn't have corn syrup in it.
That's actually a good commercial, I thought.
It was funny.
It was. All right, let's get it rolling. We have table 12. We have Kevin Vonfeldt from the South region with his Undead playing against Devlin Smith from the Southeast region playing his Empire of Dust. And I believe, Matt, you've got first read.
I've got Kevin here. He's got the Drowned Dead, 2 regiments of Skeleton Warriors. He's got 2 regiments of Soul Reaver Infantry. One has the Dwarven Ale, one has the Chalice of Wrath. He's got a Horde of Revenants. He's got a regiment of Wraiths with Healing Brew. He's got 2 troops of Revenant Cavalry. A Revenant King on Undead Worm, mounted, flying with Blade of Slashing. A Cursed Pharaoh with the Wings of Honey Maze, like you do. And Morbritus. Mortibris, sorry. And then the Borrowites.
Pretty solid little list.
Yep.
Alrighty, I have Devlin's list. Mr. Devlin Smith has 2 hordes of skeleton warriors. He has 2 regiments of mummies. He has 2 hordes of revenant chariots. One of them has the caterpillar, the other one has Brew of Haste. He has 2 bone giants. He has a bone dragon. He has 1, 2, 3 cursed high priests. One has Fireball 12 and Vicious, heal 4. The other one has Fireball 12, Vicious, and heal 4. And the last one has Fireball 12, Vicious, and heal 4. So they're all kitted out the same way. He rounds it out with a skeleton regiment of Restless Souls, and they have throwing weapons.
That's the special
That's the boom boom ones, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the what ones?
They
throw
have
grenades.
blast.
Oh, they've got Blast D3. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. See that. It's interesting.
Those are nifty.
Alrighty. So, Matt, you want to go in first, and then we'll kind of do a roundabout?
Oh, is it just because I play Undead all the time now?
Actually, I think that makes you pretty qualified.
Yeah. Man, I'm looking at Devlin's list right now. I really like the regiments of mummies. This list feels like it should be a Clash 19 list, not a Clash 18 list.
Maybe he's practicing.
I know, right? All these cursed high priests. I do like all the monsters. I'm not sure how I feel about the items on the chariots. I've never really liked giving them items. I think they're not good enough to justify it. Kevin's list, though, is really, really strong. It's also really fast, even though a lot of it's infantry. The Soul Reaver infantry are all speed 6, so they catch people off guard sometimes. They're going to be difficult to pin down and difficult to shoot off with Mortibris on the table. And Borrowites are always terrifying because that flying 7 gets them behind things.
Yep. All right, other folks, thoughts?
Yeah, I think Kevin's got everything that Devlin doesn't want to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I know personally how much damage those vampires will do. Add some barrow white action in there. I mean, Devlin's got a lot of high defensive stuff, but I mean, not really any shooting that Kevin cares too much about. Because if he can get shot, he's in range to get charged by vamps and all the rest of the stuff. I think Kevin's got a pretty good edge on this one, so I'll go ahead and ring in for Kevin.
Okay.
I think Kevin's list, like Devlin's list, is built around attrition and being able to heal. But Kevin's list has so much that can just one shot with those 2 Soul Reaver regiments.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he can get a Barrow Whites into the flank, you're not going to have very many chances to heal. But Devon's list have those 2 Skeleton Warrior hordes, which those guys they don't do much offensively, but they are a lot of nerve for very little points.
I think the other side of that attrition too is I think you're hoping that you can do a little bit of shooting, you can hurt your enemy and then just grind with them. But with that Vampire Life Leech and Mortribus, not only is Kevin's list going to hit pretty hard, it's got built-in heal essentially in a lot of places, which I think is going to be rough for Devlin as well.
So looking at it, Mortibus isn't actually going to play that big of a role here. The amount of shooting that Devlin's bringing to the table, either A, doesn't really care about stealthy all that much, and the chariots are going to go down to 6 shots, or half dice on 6s pretty quickly, so that stealthy usually doesn't actually come to play. If anything, I'd see them shooting. Yeah, but there's no good targets either. There's no characters to pick out here. Orbitus is actually probably the best thing to shoot at.
They're pretty balanced in terms of amount of surge too.
Yeah.
This just looks like a pretty balanced matchup in general. They literally have the same number of drops in unit strength.
Yeah.
I think a potential factor could be 30 surge from Devlin with 3 different high crush units on 50 mils.
Yeah,
that's what I was looking
A
at.
lot of maneuverability in those as well.
And the chariots with Potion of the Caterpillar can actually get some stuff done. That one unit might actually be okay here. The mummies are just going to end up tanking Soul Reavers for a turn and then dying.
Oh, if he can get his mummies up against the Revenants or the Wraiths or pretty much anything other than Soul Reavers, the mummies should win out, even against Barrow Whites.
Yeah.
Really, it depends on how many surge flanks Devlin can get, because that's where most of his combat potential is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a lot of surges in this game, because there's also the Wraiths from
Mm-hmm.
Kevin's list on top of that.
Whites too, right?
And the 2 troops of Revenant Cavalry.
Yep. Yeah, Kevin's pretty good with those Revenants.
Going to be a lot of surge.
Yeah, I think it's going to boil down to what Devlin can do with the Giants and what Kevin can do with the Soul Reavers. Because the Soul Reavers are what Kevin, I'm assuming, uses to punch with in his list. And the Bone Giants, those can do... I guess the Bone Dragon too, but Bone Dragons are just fragile at defense 4.
You got to really be patient with them.
Yeah. The Bone Giants you can get out there and be trickier with, I feel like, because they're more durable.
Do they both have a Curse Pharaoh?
No, Devlin does not.
Yeah, Devlin doesn't.
It's not.
Just Kevin. Cool. Anything else pop out to anybody, or do y'all want to go into votes?
The skeleton regiment's cute, like the blast one, but it does feel a little awkward in this list.
All of the shooting, once it's in range, is going to be in extreme danger of getting jacked in one hit, though. That's the thing, is all his shooting units, even those individuals, he's got to be a little bit careful with them, because that flying individual can get back there and really shut it down.
Yeah, the skeleton regiments still get their blast in melee with crushing 2. So
yeah, but they're still skeletons.
I believe there are only 8 attacks too, though.
Yeah, it's a smaller profile.
Or 10 attacks rather for the regiment.
I can tell you here in a
8.
second.
All right.
It's 8, but I mean that's still gonna average 8 hits on it.
They hit on 5s on
Hit on
melee.
4s,
right?
No,
Or
Oh,
so-
yeah.
5s in shooting.
Gotcha.
they're a little bit better than regular skeletons.
Cool. Let's move it on to votes.
All right, let's vote. Jeff, I know you said you were picking Kevin.
Yeah, you can lock me in for Kevin.
Cool. I'm just going to go down the list and this will be the order that we're going to read from for the rest of the night. Jeremy.
Everyone makes some good points. I think I'm going to go. I think Kevin's list punches a little harder than Devlin grinds.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Kevin.
Okay. Ryan. Smith.
Which one?
That's going to catch me every time.
So Devlin has beat me before, so I know at least he's in like the top 70% of players in the country. Kevin has never beaten me. I'm going to give the edge to Devlin.
Is that because you've never played Kevin?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Just making sure. Ryan Munsell.
I'm gonna go with Kevin.
Okay. Pat.
I'm going to go with Kevin as well. I
Mike.
go over south.
I don't know if would it be a cop out for me to say that I legitimately think this is going to be a draw.
Not necessarily.
Yes, it would be a cop out.
Yes.
Okay. Apparently, I was overruled. That's a cop out.
If I had to pick
You
one of
may
the
be
two,
correct.
I would probably say Kevin, but I do feel like this is going to be just a dead even draw.
Okay. Dead even. That's funny. Matt, you get to round us out.
Yeah, I know Kevin, just as a player, I think, can pull this one off, just from what I've seen in the past. So I'm going to shoot it with Kevin.
Okay. All right. And with that, we're jumping over to table 13. We have Ben Stoddard from the Pacific Northwest running Dwarves, and he's playing Mr. Dan Cammack from the West Coast, which he's actually from the Southeast, but he's merking. And he's running Twilight Kin. And I think, Jeremy, you've got the first read.
Yeah. So I got Ben's list. He is running a horde. He's playing dwarves, so he's running a horde of bulwarkers naked, regiment of ironclad, 2 earth elemental hordes, 1 with brew of strength, 1 naked, 2 berserker Brock Rider regiments naked, 2 iron belcher organ guns, BSB with loot, mounted Brock Lord with blade of the Beast Slayer, Stone Priest with Martyr's Prayer and Banner of the Griffin, 2 massive hunting pack regiments, and the legendary steel behemoth Golok's Fury.
All right, and then the other side we've got Dan Cammack. So that'll be Twilight Kin. He has a regiment of crossbowmen with the Brew of Keen Eye, a regiment of buccaneers with the Jar of the Four Winds, Blade Dancer regiment, 2 regiments of Dark Knights. 1 has the Healing Brew and 1 has the Potion of the Caterpillar. 2 troops of the Heralds of Woe.
Whoa.
A horde of Dark Side Chariots with the Wine of Elvenkind. 2 Twilight Dragon Breath Flamers. A High Priestess with Bane Chant mounted in the Circlet of Blood. And then 2 Standard Bearers, both mounted. 1 has a Diadem of Dragonkind, and the other one has no item. And lastly, Basusu.
You got a little of everything in that.
Yeah, really.
It's a really balanced kin list has a good amount of shooting.
Yeah, I definitely like Dan's list in this setup. It's he's got a little bit of a Swiss Army knife for everything. He has enough punch to get through the only units that he really cares about getting through right away. And the rest of it, I think he can grind out. You'd be surprised what 2 regiments of Dark Knights can do to you.
Yeah. And he has a lot of shooting.
But there's also just not very many. I mean, the Berserker Brock Riders are going to be the ideal target for the shooting.
Mm-hmm.
But those Dark Knights aren't going to be really able to go through anything in one go unless they double charge.
Yeah.
And
I've been on the receiving end of one of those. They hurt. I mean, the extra couple attacks they get is Cav because they have 18 instead of 16 like regular elves do. And that vicious pays off way more than the elite does, like with regular elves when you've got TC1 and Crush or TC1 or TC2 going into it. But Yeah, and if he softens it up, I think he could take out some of that stuff in just one go. Honestly, he softens it up.
He's definitely going to have to soften it up, but he does have quite a lot to soften it up, and he's got the blood boil. So,
yeah.
I'm going to interject here for just a second. It really depends on the scenario and the terrain placement.
They're all good guys.
And they're all good guys, but...
As you do, you know.
All right, now
I don't know a lot
everybody's
about
drunk.
either of these
Everybody's
players.
officially drunk now. There you go.
Based on the list, I'm gonna have to lean towards.
Nice.
You know, there's some things in Ben's list that's a little odd to me.
Yeah, can you flip back over that? Thanks.
Yeah, so first off, right off the bat, Brew of Strength should be on the Bulwarkers, in my opinion.
It's bladed slashing on the thing, says.
For the, from the Earth Elemental has Brew of Strength, the Horde of...
Oh, it says bladed slashing on the overlay.
Pat made another mistake, another drink.
So in the list, one of the regiments has Brew of Strength of Earth
Yeah,
Elemental.
that's not worth it.
And I think that if you're going to put an item like that on a unit that hits on 4s, it needs to be on like the Bulwarkers who have just the weight of dice for
30 attacks.
Yeah.
I think is a little bit
Bulwarkers you give hammer though, right?
Yeah, you could do hammer. You know, I think running it behind with loot and Brew of Strength, 30 attacks on 4s with crushing 2 can be pretty good.
Yeah,
too.
I think so. Yeah.
I will say that the legendary Steel Behemoth is pretty boss.
Mm-hmm.
Having like a movable organ gun is pretty nice. But I don't know. Dan's list, like you said, it's just so balanced. He has a little bit of everything.
At the risk of sounding like an RC member that doesn't remember, because we went through so many versions, do the hunting packs have thrown animals or inherently, or do you have to upgrade them?
No, you need to pay for it.
Okay, and he did not pay for that. Is that correct?
No.
Right.
Oh man, it's such a.
I've actually seen a lot of people bring the Mastiff hunting packs without bringing throwing dogs.
Man. Yeah.
Seems like every time I've looked at it through these lists, I haven't seen the throwing.
Which is
surprising.
really strange to me.
Yeah, like if you've got one unit that's got it, it's got to be the one that's actually made up of dogs, right?
Dogs throwing dogs.
All right, you guys want to move this through?
Yeah, anything that hasn't popped up that anybody want to throw out, we can do that. If not, let's go.
Does have that Martyr's Prayer Stone Priest, which will help him in the grind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that.
Martyr's Prayer, Banner of the Griffin. Yeah.
I think that guy's got to be worried about Basusu the whole game. I think he's just constantly hiding in those rocks.
Honestly, that Mounted Army Standard Bearer.
Oh.
The Mounted Army Standard Bearer could go Martyrs hunting after he's got a couple wounds on him.
I mean, provided he's got good leadership control.
Yeah.
Even the Chariot Horde at height 3.
Mm-hmm.
Once he's done 1 or 2 heals, it is going to be susceptible to be killed by that, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
And the blood boil too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, Dan's definitely got enough shooting to kill pretty much anything, given the time. The one thing I'd worry about with that kin list is that he has, you have it on there as 15 unit strength. I think it's down to 14 with the nimble and the chariots.
Yeah, he's got nimble.
But that's not very much unit strength. There's not much unit strength, and none of it is particularly tanky.
Yeah.
A lot of that unit strength could die pretty easily, which is one thing I would worry about in this.
I think the highest nerve he has is 15, 17 on the Blade Dancers.
And they're at Def 3. Everything else is Def
Blade
4,
Dancers
14,
has
16.
Stiff Breeze.
And if they're playing like Dominate or something, 2 Earth Elemental Hordes and Golok in the middle of the board,
Periods are 16, 18.
that's a lot of defense 6 that you got to move, That could be tough.
Yep.
So it depends on scenario.
Depends on the scenario.
And
Terrain placement's going to matter.
All right. Let's jump into votes. Jeremy, what do you think?
I think it's going to be close. I think that I just think so much power of this sort of dwarf list is your Stone Priest at the end of the game having 19 damage on it. And that's just not going to happen with Dan has the tools to get at that Stone Priest.
Yeah.
And, he's on my team, so I got to kind of want to vote for him. But I think he's got the tools, so I'm going to go with Dan.
Okay. Ryan Smith.
I'm also in with Dan.
Okay. Ryan Munsell.
I'm going to go with Ben. I think he's got a lot. It's a lot of stuff for Dan to chew through, and well, he's on my team, so it's close. I'm gonna roll with him.
Favoritism, I like it. Pat, what do you think?
I'm going with Ben. If he can take care of the Dark Knights, Dan doesn't have a lot of crushing to deal with a defense 6.
Good call. Mike?
Yeah, I'm going with Ben too. I mean, Dan can for sure kill a lot of things, but not cleanly, and his unit strength isn't going to survive.
Okay, Matt?
I'm still going to give it to Dan. I think there's a lot of shooting in this list and a lot of speed. I don't know that the Dwarves are going to be able to keep up with that.
And Jeff, last vote.
Yeah, you give me Dan on this one all day. I think he's going to pick up units before he even gets to combat. So that's always an advantage in placement. So
Okay. So with that, we're running along to table 14. We have Mike Adkins, hailing from the Midatlantic, playing Abyssals. And he's going up against Travis Timm from the Mountain Region, playing Goblins. And both Ryans you guys are reading. I think Munsell's reading first.
Yep, I've got Mike Adkins. He's playing Abyssals. He has 2 troops of gargoyles. He has a horde of lower Abyssals with 2-handed weapons. He has a regiment of tortured souls, a horde of tortured souls with blessing of the gods, a horde of tortured souls with haste, a regiment of Abyssal horsemen with caterpillar, a troop of hellhounds, Abyssal harbinger with loot, 2 Afrits, and an archfiend with lightning bolt, blade of slashings, and wings, and Basusu.
that's an amazing Nightstalkers list.
I was going to say, those are some
Hey, we have
very
an awesome Empire of Dust list with all Twilight kin choices.
That's another shot.
2 shots.
Okay, Ryan, you're reading Goblins.
All right.
It's even listed as Goblin Filth.
I'm waiting for it to come round. There we go.
There you go.
So this is Travis Timm playing Goblins. He's got 2 rabble regiments. One's got the warbow, one's got the flying hammer. He's got 2 rabble hordes with fire oil and the banner of the griffin. A horde of spitters with the heart's eking chant. I don't know what that is. Probably from the realm of Tycho.
Technically, it's goblins, so it does make a lot more sense.
Okay, that works. 2
I think
fleabag
I'm going to leave
chariots.
that one in, actually.
I would.
One's got brew of haste, one's got caterpillar, 3 war trombones, 3 rocks throwers. You know, it's a light shooting list.
What you do?
Pair of flaggots. One's mounted on Kava's holy hand grenade. That's going to work for 1 shot. The other one is mounted on a diadem of dragonkind. Pair of wizards, both with alchemist curse, one of whom is inspiring. The other one apparently lets his parents down constantly. 3 mincers, a giant, and he's got Grogger's great lobber.
Oof.
Just a cute bit of shooting.
That's a little bit of shooting. That's like, what, 12 shots?
You know what it is? Everything that Mike doesn't want to see in one box. I've got all this crushing strength. All right, have some goblins.
Eat some
Have
rabble.
some candy.
I mean, Mike does have the Afrits and a couple of other things that can chew through him, but
Yeah.
it's going to be a rough going.
Yeah. That's rough.
Those 4 rock throwers, if they hit in 1 turn, something's going to die. I mean, and it's going to happen 1 time through the weekend. So if Travis blows his load the first game out of the bat, it's going to hurt.
Well, and Mike's going to have a hard time landing those tortured souls hordes. I mean, where are you gonna land? I mean, good luck getting a flank.
Yeah, you're going to have to go for fronts.
That's just not a place you want to be with them.
The Tortured Souls really, like, it'll take him 2 rounds to get through rabble regiments.
100%. Yep, because they don't. I mean, and that's if it's unhindered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you stop in front of them, and it's like, oh, trombones to the face. Mind if I do? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I wonder how many charges Travis would actually even declare or counter charges.
he
The only
would.
thing I can see him doing is the mincers and the giants, and that's about it.
Yeah. You wouldn't even countercharge the mincers at that point. You know, hit worth of crap. You just let them shoot.
Yeah, true. Yeah, so just maybe the giants. And if the Pathfinder chariot gets a flank or something.
Well, it depends on if he wants to knock off fly too. Like he may countercharge in that case, but otherwise he may do the shots like you're talking about. Just
Yeah.
depends on what else is at
Mike's
play around?
Mike's poor hellhounds are never going to get to see combat. I mean, those things will be dead so quick, even if he insulates them.
And like you said, his speed and flying is not going to be worth much in this game.
Right. Yeah.
You know, even if he's spending all this time to get in places, he's going to take trombones to the face.
Yep.
Or the stuff that's probably already been weakened somewhat as he's setting up all these positional places.
Mhm.
So he's spending a lot of points on flying. That's really going to mean 0 in this game, I think.
Well, look close. I mean, as an Abyssal player, I'm looking at Mike's list and I'm thinking, there's no anvil here. There's nothing to hide behind. There's nothing to move forward and have a base of operations to go work from the middle from, right? Everything he has wants to go get parts of the enemy's army.
Also, I'm looking at the lists in general, and this is another error on your part, Pat. I'm pretty sure the unit strength for the Abyssals is only like 14 overall because
Yeah, because they're nimble.
So much is nimble.
And the Goblins have 23. So, and most of that unit strength is in things like
Torture Souls.
like there's gargoyles and tortured souls, and those are going to drop
Yeah.
in like 2 turns because they're only
Mhm.
defense 4.
I think I count 15 on the Abyssal unit strength.
I
Kind
mean,
of 14 right now.
yeah.
I mean, he could do it. It's going to be rough, but I just don't see it happening, especially versus a player like Travis. Like, it's just good luck. I mean, Travis is on point. He doesn't make mistakes.
Pretty sure Travis won some event with this recently too.
Yeah.
Or a similar goblin list. I don't know if it's the
He's
exact.
not going to
Wait,
make a mistake.
This goblin list is just tough to get through. It's 22 drops, 23 unit strength.
Yeah.
That many rock throwers, you know, you're bound to have a couple turns where they hit pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he has one good shooting phase early with those, I mean, this game could be over
The
real
game
quick.
could be over on the first turn.
Yep, real quick.
And Mike just doesn't have a lot of volume of attacks on, like, the Tortured Souls. 18
Yeah.
attacks on 4s. That's not what you
Nope.
want against goblins. You want
Mm-mm.
He's only got
25
like
attacks on 3s with no crushing.
The Ifrits are the workhorses, and you got to insulate them.
yeah. And then what do you
Do
do?
Ifrits have
Just
stealthy?
killing just-
No, they have
No.
Pathfinder.
Nope.
even if he can get those in the right positions, he's still only barbecuing just regular goblins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like there's just so much stuff. There's still the Mensers on top of that. Like the goblin list also has some counterpunch on top of this. There's a giant, there's 3 Mensers, there's 2 chariot hordes, which if they want to can get in there.
Yeah.
Like
Take both retreats to kill a single rabble regiment.
yeah, exactly. And then there's 2 hordes of rabble, which, you know, not the best, but they're not terrible either.
Yeah. In a comment, Steve Strangelove pointed out, against this goblin list, the succubi would be the perfect unit.
And he don't have any.
Yeah.
God, yes.
Yep.
They would be helpful.
Very
Never leave home without succubi, Abyssal player. Period. All right, I think we can probably move it in.
Let's do it. Jeremy, first vote.
Yeah, Travis brought me special magic popcorn last year too, so which was pretty awesome.
What
So
was magical about it?
It was laced with weed.
I was going to say.
a family-friendly podcast, so I won't go into any details. But yeah, I think he's.
You're on our turf, man. This is not family friendly.
Right.
Matt was watching porn last time.
Yeah.
Right.
So he brought me. I had some floating popcorn last year, but no, everyone said it. This is gonna go, I think, Travis, and it could go to him in a big way. This might be the blackjack potential of the night,
yeah.
but we'll have to see. But this is, and I know Mike is a great player, but tough one for him. So I'm going Travis.
All right. Ryan Smith.
Sorry, Mike. I like you a lot. No, I don't think you get this one. Sorry. Travis has got this one.
Ryan Munsell.
Going with Travis, and I think it's going to be big.
Noticing a trend. Patrick.
Travis, and I'm going to pile on and the potential blackjack in this one.
Mike,
Travis.
Matt,
Travis.
Jeff.
Pains me to say it, I'm a Abyssal player, but man, this is gonna be hard to not get blackjacked on this one for sure. Travis.
Gonna bring some Bloody Mary mix for Mike.
Yeah.
On Saturday morning.
On the bright side, he kind of wins because he gets to go submarine a little bit, and he's a good player. So
right to the kiddie pool.
Yep.
But it's Masters, so there's no kiddie pool.
Yep.
That was our first all sweep.
100% landslide.
Yep.
Well, for tonight, right?
Yeah, because there were a few last time.
We actually had a lot of landslides last time, and a lot of
Yeah, and I don't think
6
those.
votings.
I don't think those games were as lopsided as this one.
This
on
one's bad.
paper
Yeah.
looks.
I just. Yeah, it's gonna be.
There was
rough.
one game last time that I thought had potential to be blackjack, but the rest I felt were kind of close, even though they ended up being voted landslides.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's jump into table 15. We've got Chris James hailing from the southeast, and he's playing Undead, and he's going up against Brindley Smith from the Pacific Northwest, who's bringing Varngur if he can finish painting them in time.
Brindley, you better be fucking happy that I used this photo. You refuse to give me another photo.
I
that's
told you to put a
better
hat
be
on
happy.
him, man. Brindley doesn't even have a top.
I just like how he's wearing shoulder pads in the. Check
like
out my
those-
shoulders, eh?
It's like
To
those
me-
pantsuits that women used to wear in the 80s.
Yep. What it reminds me of, man.
To be fair, don't all Canadians walk around in hockey outfits all the time? Come on.
Was
All
it
right.
a Thursday? It was,
Yeah.
then yes.
Yeah. Oh, it must have been Thursday.
Yeah.
All right. So Brindley's playing against Chris James, who's playing some Undead. He starts out with a troop of Wraiths, followed by a regiment of Wraiths with a brew of Strength, followed by another regiment of Wraiths. Fire oil on those ones. 2 regiments of Zombies. A Revenant King on an Undead Worm. It has Fly and the Brew of Sharpness. Wow. That's an investment. Damn. And then another Revenant King on Undead Worm with the Mace of Crushing and Fly. He's got a Flying Pharaoh loadout there. He's got a Lich King with a Lightning Bolt. He mounted him up. He's got a Heal and Boots of Levitation so he can get around the field. He'll be sporting that Surge Chenny obviously comes with. He's also got Morgoth the Faceless with the Touch of Darkness. I'm not sure who he'll be putting that on. Are we requiring them to say that ahead of time?
No, because you can pick between games, right?
Okay. Well, it depends on the tournament, but yeah. I just didn't know if it was in the pack or not. And then he's got a Horde of Barrow Whites as well. That is elite.
Yeah, that's a very elite list.
Brindley Smith is bringing Varngur. He's got also some Forces of Nature
Wow,
allies.
he's got everything.
Yep, he's got a regiment of thralls.
This is the fucking list that bugged the hell out of me because I couldn't keep anything on a single line.
So he's got. I'm going to read out the Varngur part first. So he's got a regiment of thralls with the Warbow of Kaba. He's got a horde of thralls with the Dwarven Ale. He's got a horde of Bloodsworn with the Healing Brew. A troop of Reavers. A horde of Fallen with the Brew of Strength. A troop of Tundra Wolves with the Stang Stone. There's a lot of magic items in this list. Some Mountain Sons of Korgon. He's got 2 regiments. Both have Fury. He's given the Potion of the Caterpillar to one and the Blade of Slashing to the other.
As you do.
Yeah. Horde of Direfang Riders with the Mace of Crushing and Fury, because, yeah. A Scald with the Loot of Insatiable Darkness. And Magnild the Fallen. Allied into it, he's got a regiment of 4 Shamblers and a Pegasus.
So why not just take the 4 Shambler special unit that you get in Varngur? Don't they have like a...
I think that's Elves.
Elves,
Yeah, that's Elves.
the Awoken Guardians.
Yeah, well,
I really- This Varngur list looks pretty good. There's some wasted points, but a 22 unit strength Varngur list is
Pretty high.
yeah.
You got a lot of everything in there.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, just
And that's
What's
the thing.
surprising is he doesn't give the gifts very often. I felt like the Bloodsworn Horde could have used Fury or Life Leech more than Healing Brew.
Yeah.
Yeah, strip the Warbow of Cobb and the Healing Brew, throw some Fury on that.
Mm-hmm.
Small nitpicking, but the rest
Yep.
of this, though, the
Minus
Reavers-
those, for a unit that has as many hammers and can hit as hard and as tough as Varngur, the real kind of like magic in this is how much unit strength he has.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He has a huge amount of unit strength for what has, 3 or 4 really, really hard hitting units. And then also Magnilda, the Pegasus is annoying. He's got a lot of pieces. The Thunderwolf stuff he can do to tie stuff up so that he can get in you with the Reavers troop. And
he's going to have those 4 Shamblers vanguarding, so that's going to put up.
And I just think that Undead list maybe a couple years ago, it's just today it's just too few unit strength.
Yeah.
I know, like the Brew of Sharpness on the Flying Rev King Horde, or the Flying Rev King on the Worm, it's kind of like a cheap dragon, basically, right? And I know Under the Radar has been becoming more popular, but he just doesn't have unit strength. I just don't know how you play. And even the tough stuff, Brindley has can openers to kill Wraith regiments, or
so
Firefangs are going to get chew through those pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad matchup for Chris James, big time.
I've
he's-
played that exact Lich King before. He's a lot of fun, but he's just way too expensive for what he does.
there's just not enough chaff in this Undead list. Like, I'm looking through it, and the hammers are there, and with Morgoth and the Borrowites, as well as, the Wraiths are tanky,
Not against Varngur.
but not against
Yeah.
that Varngur list.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, exactly. There's just not enough to really draw out elements and then swallow them up.
He's not going to kill anything of Brindley's in one go either, unless he gets triple charges. Like literally triple charges is what it's going to take.
Yeah, that's the
Lich King and Morgoth alone are over 500 points.
Yeah, because he has nothing. Like, there's no hammer in this Undead list.
Well, yeah, there is. Barrow
There's
Whites.
the Borrowites, but that's it.
I mean,
That's the only thing that could qualify as a hammer.
The Barrowites, they're going to do 7 to 8 wounds against almost anything, but they're
Right.
only going to do about 7 to 8 wounds.
Exactly. So it's still going to take him minimum 2 rounds to beat through one of those Knight regiments, and those Knight regiments are going to rip through that unit in one go.
And then there's the 2 horde.
I will say that
Drow.
the Chris's list does have has a good amount of lightning bolt, and his 11 lightning bolt between the Lich King and Morgoth. He's definitely gonna have to be pretty patient in this matchup and try to weaken some units first.
Yeah, a lot of units.
Problem is, as fast as that Varngur list, he's not going to have a lot of time.
True.
mhm.
There's definitely some lists that he'll give trouble with as much flying and surge as he has. He has over 40 surge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
like the one
this-
thing. Maybe he
I don't think
throws
this
out
is
of
the one.
Yeah,
Is he going to get a 24-inch flank charge with that? It's
And if he
It's
does,
cute.
they're still with whites.
Yeah.
Or with wraiths, rather. Sorry.
still won't even kill a unit in one go.
yeah.
I know, best case scenario, you're getting the Wraith regiment with Brew of Strength into a flank or behind. Even at that point, it's not going to kill a lot of those Varngur high nerve units hitting on 4s like that. So even in like a best case scenario, maneuvering that to happen is, hitting on 4s, you could still shit the bed with that unit.
Also, Malinhide's got Magnild is just going to go punch Morgoth once.
And it's not going to kill Morgoth, but it's going to remove
Right.
his toolbox.
Yes.
And
Which
that's
is what makes it hard to
270 points down the drain, just sitting there doing nothing.
Yep.
I have just
that, though.
I have a general question about Morgoth. It doesn't say in the list where Touch of Darkness is going. Is it going to be the same unit all tournament, or how does
Yeah,
that
That's
work?
what
right.
we were just talking about
Yeah,
that.
it doesn't have to be.
Oh, sorry. Okay, missed that.
I
I'm
mean,
guessing he's
realistically,
putting up
it's
the Barrow Whites. Yeah.
Yeah, you would
Okay.
think that it's going to go on that pretty much every time, but it's like a start of the game
Mhm.
declaration.
Cool. I think we can push it along. I think we're at a
Yeah.
consensus, Jeremy.
Jeremy,
Brindley.
Ryan Smith,
Yep, Brindley.
Ryan Munsell.
Brindley.
Patrick.
Brindley.
Just want to call this a blackjack. Mike.
Yeah, I think Brindley also.
Okay. Matt.
Yeah, I'm throwing in with the undead. Or sorry, not the undead, the Varngur.
Jeff.
Yeah, I think Brindley on an 18 on this one.
Okay. All right, let's jump over to table 16. I'm going to be reading the first list. Jeremy, you've got the second list. We've got Mr. John Green running Romans
Current.
from the south. Watch out, he's a fighter. Playing
Pretty sure that's
against
his Tinder profile pic too.
That's his grinder profile, bro.
There you go. Playing against Mr. Grant Fetter, who is merking for the Mountain team. He's originally from the Midwest team. And Grant is bringing a pretty sick Abyssal Dwarfs list if what he's been boasting about is true. All right, and I am pulling up John's list right now. So here we go with Romans. He has a regiment of heavy warriors. They have exchanged their shields for 2 hand weapons. So they get the crushing. And they've got Falcon.
Go ahead, explain it now.
Falcon is basically reverse piercing. So if you have Falcon 2, it's basically -2 to your pierce roll, to your wound roll when you're trying to do damage with shooting.
Key thing with Falcon, though, is it doesn't increase defense. Alchemist's Curse stow wounds on the base defense.
Correct.
Correct.
He has a horde of heavy warriors. They have also exchanged for Crushing 1. He's given them Iron Resolve. They also have Falcon, and they have Claymores, which is, I believe,
Crush
off the
one.
top of my
Crush
head,
one.
exactly. It's basically
Bruise
Bruise Strike. Yep. He has another horde of heavy warriors. They have also exchanged their hand weapons. They have Iron Resolve, Falcon 2, and he's given them Disciplined, which I don't know what that is. I'll have to look it up.
Headstrong.
Yeah.
There you go. Somebody knows, not me. He has another horde of heavy warriors. He has swapped their weapons out also. They have Iron Resolve, they have Falcon, and they have Bloodlust. Go ahead, somebody tell me.
Fury.
There you go.
Yeah.
Not done yet. He has another horde of heavy warriors. They've exchanged their weapons also. They have Iron Resolve, and they also have Falcon. He has an army standard bearer. He has a musician. The musicians give rally too. He has a hero mounted on a horse. He has another hero mounted on a horse. He has a regiment of Praetorian cavalry. He has an eagle bearer, which is very inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
rallying
rally,
too.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good for 100 points.
Yep.
He has a horde of huge warriors. They're kind of like trolls, but actually they hit on 3s.
They're
Pretty good.
ogres.
They're ogres.
They're
Ogres, yeah.
Yeah.
He has a phoenix, which guess what? It's just like our phoenixes. And he has 2 evil sorcerers. They both have heal 3 in addition to having Bane Chant 2. And Life Leech 1 because, you want
That's what makes them evil.
your casters fighting in combat. That is his historical Roman list.
Okay, so I have Grant's list, and he's taking Abyssal Dwarves. So he's got a horde of Decimators with Blessing of the Gods, 2 troops of Gargoyles, 2 hordes of Golems, 3 Heavy Mortars, Ironcaster, Surge Inspiring Talisman, Dravik Dalkin, so that's the special character Ironcaster, and then Infernock, who's his sort of buddy. And that's the one where Dravik, damage done with his fireball will heal Infernock. He's got some allies. He's got 2 hordes of ogre shooters and a boomer sergeant.
Do you want to know what that list hates most of all?
Not being able to use its
Falcon.
piercing when
Does it
it
start
shoots.
with an F?
I was going to say that entire list is resolved around high piercing attacks, and Fulcron's just going to negate everything.
This is the list Grant does not want to see.
Yeah.
We say that.
Especially-
Sorry, go ahead.
Especially since most of John's stuff is height 1. That's for
Yep.
shooting. So those heavy mortars are going to have trouble getting good shots off.
Yeah, on anything that isn't a warrior horde, which they'll be reduced to piercing 1 against. The first time heavy mortars will not be terrifying.
It's still hit wounding on a 3 though with vicious, so it's
And it is D6 plus 4 blast still.
yeah. It's those are still, if those hit, those are still gonna wreck the warriors.
The Warriors are 23-25 though, worth the rally.
Yep.
They can probably.
And he has
They can
heal.
take 2 mortars.
He's got a
in the
little
face.
bit of heal. It's not a lot.
He's got 12 heal.
How much on the Phoenix?
Oh, he does have heal on the Phoenix. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got 12.
Yeah.
The Phoenix is who has to worry the most.
How about getting shot? Yeah.
That's pretty much dead first turn. If anything hits.
I mean, but he can hide that behind trees.
Could.
Yeah.
I guess that depends on where the terrain is.
Depends on
placed.
where the terrain is, how the terrain's set up.
But I think once John gets into the grind here, this Abyssal Dwarf list just starts to fall apart really fast.
The Abyssal Dwarf list doesn't have enough that can grind. He spent too many points on things that'll shoot him off.
Yeah. Like, the Lesser Obsidian Golems are cute, but
It's going to be late round shooting that's what Grant's relying on. I mean, You're right. He doesn't grind, but he's got enough things that he's probably going to have to throw in front of John to try and slow him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he does have good tools. Like Infernok's really, really tough. And ironically, Dravik's Fireball will still be decent.
And those evil sorcerers, they come with Bane Chant as well.
Yeah,
And
Chant too. Yep.
heavy warrior hordes. I mean, they hit on 3s, and with Bane Chant, they're crushed 2. They're
One
going
of
to
them
choose
crushed
their defense 6. Yeah, one of them being crushed 3.
Yep.
On top of that, he can keep the huge warriors behind as a second line.
Although they might be picked off by those mortars.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what else dies. There's still all of the heavy warriors to deal with.
Hordes.
Does Vulcan work on shooting that doesn't have piercing, or no?
Yep. So it'll be effectively defense 6
Okay.
against fireball and all that.
Yeah, def 5
It's minus N to wound.
Okay.
So Fulcon 2 is minus 2 to wound.
Does
Pretty good.
how much unit strength does the Abyssal Dwarf list have? 1, 2, 3.
Count at 19.
19?
They're pretty close. 20 to 19.
And 15 to 14 drops. They're pretty similar.
Yeah. A bunch of it's in the Ogre shooting, though. 7 of that unit strength is in the 2 hordes and the 1 boomer sergeant.
And
Yeah.
those hordes thing.
Yeah.
The Vulcan's gonna kill that shooting for the ogre shooters.
I mean, I think you talk a lot when you talk about historicals, right? You talk about 2 things, right? You talk about Mongols in tournaments where they have unit strength.
Yep.
And you talk about Romans in a shooting heavy matchup. I think are like the 2 viable armies from that book. And I mean, this was like, John Green was saying his prayers and eating his vitamins and going, please, piece of Jesus, give me the round 1 matchup that I so richly desire and deserve. And he got it. I mean, we say that cliche sort of like he doesn't want to see this, but he does not want to see. Grant does not want to see this list. So many points wrapped up in piercing.
No one's even mentioned the Iron Resolve and all those heavy warriors on top of everything else, so they're also going to be tanking.
So I'm going to pull a wound back every time.
Yep. Like, what little shooting does actually go through isn't even going to stick.
And then Iron Resolve teamed up with Heal. I mean, this is going to be just real tough to get through.
It's a grind. All right. Let's hop into voting. Jeremy, you're first.
I'm going to go John.
Okay. Ryan Smith.
I love John's list. I've always loved John's list when he does it this flavor. I've got John on this.
Okay. Ryan Munsell.
Going John.
Okay. Pat.
John.
Noticing a trend. Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with John.
Matt.
It's definitely John for me.
Jeff.
Yeah, John.
3 landslides in a row.
I was about to say that's got to be like 3 in a row there. All right.
And it's a South Region one.
Right?
And
What
at
really
least 3 people on this voted for South Region, so anyone finish the drink.
Sure. So, table 17, we've got Joey the Greek playing Nightstalkers from the Midatlantic against Dustin Liu playing Empire of Dust from the West Coast. Interesting matchup, army on army.
This is going to be the first of 2 Dustins playing Dust.
All right, so I've got Joey's army.
Okay.
He's going to be running Nightstalkers. So we've got 2 hordes of butchers. One of those has the Mace of Crushing. We've got 2 regiments of fiends, a horde of fiends with the Brew of Sharpness, 2 Shadow Hulks, 1 planar apparition with weakness, a horror with weakness and Banechant, a Void Lurker with Dark Lord's Onyx Ring, bumping his regen down, I guess, to a 4+.
Right? Is it
no, it's 5 base. Yeah, so I'm going to go 4 up.
4. Gotcha.
Dread Fiend with the Blade of Slashing, a Dread Fiend with nothing, and a Dread Fiend with the Staying Stone.
Interesting.
All right, and I've got Dustin's Empire Dust. He has a horde of skeleton spearmen with pure sharpness. He has a horde of revenants with hammer of measured force. He has 2 regiments of mummies, 1 with courage, 1 with blessing of the gods. He has 2 bone giants, 1, 2, 3 of the cursed high priests. They all have heal. They all have alchemist curse. And they're all mounted. And 1 has loot. I think I read that right.
I think one of the priests is on foot.
Yeah, I was going to say one looks like it.
Oh, the alchemist curse is on. The loot is on foot.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Idol of Shobik, and the skeleton regiment as the Blast D3.
Interesting.
This is a very the other Dustin type of dust list. With the 2 bone giants, Shobek, 2 regiments of mummies.
He doesn't have a lot of unit strength, though. Only 15.
Yeah, but this man can grind.
He does have a lot of heal.
The Spearmen are interesting to me because for 15 points more, they could have been Revenants with the Amulet of Thorns.
Yeah.
You get a lot of attacks, but you gain a nerve and a defense point.
Yeah, the Brew of Sharpness seems kind of wasteful.
Yeah.
I am kind of annoyed with Greek's list because he has 2 Butcher Hordes and 2 Shadow Hulks, and he doesn't have the formation.
You didn't take the formation? No.
I don't know if that's because he wanted his Shadow Hulks to both be speed 5 instead of 1 being speed 6. But I feel like you downgrade Brew of Sharpness to Blessing of the Gods and buy the formation.
That formation is so good, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brutal on 3 units, and then one of the Shadow Hulks to speed 6.
But I really like that list overall, though. I mean, inherently it'll be strong against shooting, and then you've got some Def 5 in there, or some high nerve Def 4 with 2 different casts of weakness. Add onto that a 4-up regen Void Lurker. It'll be tough to kill in either phase.
Those little zipper Dread Fiends are nothing to sneeze at either.
Yeah, for sure.
The Dread Fiends are good, and they're good at scoring and everything as well. My main issue is like as far as like rank and file units that he has. I don't know that it's going to be that hard. I don't know that it's going to be that easy to jam up all the flanks and surges and everything that dust list has available to it.
I don't think he's going to be able to do that. He's just going to have to take.
Yeah, I mean, because even if the dust unit gets in, even if dust gets into him, and then just starts, pinning stuff to where he has to back up instead of the other units. I mean, he's going to force some kind of slide one way or the other to force stuff to not be parallel, and then it's just going to be surge all over the place. So, and I think these mummies that he has have no problem tanking a majority of Joey's rank and file stuff, which is going to be an issue in my opinion.
Yeah, the butcher is really only the fiend horde can one-shot a mummy, and that's if they roll well.
Mm-hmm.
Those mummies are actually going to be able to tank pretty well, unless you get the Banechant off.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bane chance for the Skeleton Spearman.
Oh, the
He's
Bane can on a
investing
Night
sharpness
Stalker.
on them, then why? And it seems like he'd want crushing on them. It seems like that's where he's going to cast it.
Yeah,
The dust.
and that's the guy on foot, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. What is he missing out on by not taking the Butcher formation?
Brutal on both Butchers and a Shadow Hulk, and speed 6 on one of the Shadow Hulks.
Yeah.
That just doesn't make sense why he wouldn't take that.
I can't remember what the cost is in Clash 18.
20
20 points.
20
20
points.
points. Yeah.
So Brew Sharpness down to Bless Him to Gods would have been a very easy switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing I can see, Dustin's one of our in-region players. This is going to be his first Masters and his first, I would say, big tournament. The biggest tournament he's probably played in prior to this is 12, 14 people. So he's a solid player and he's great with his surge, but I think you got to take into that effect the sort of grandeur of game one at the Masters as being your first out-of-region tournament that you've ever gone to.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that kind of entering in, but he plays this list very much, come get me, you hit my wall, and then you do what Empire Dust does, which is now I surge stuff into your flanks, and Shobek comes out and plays a little bit. But Joey's a good player, and like I said, this will be Dustin's first big event. So I'm really excited he's taking the investment to go and get out of the region and see the greater picture. But experience at Masters does really mean a lot. I think we talked about it last stream.
It can.
All right, we ready to move through this, I guess?
Let's do it.
Same
Jeremy, first vote.
I think Shobek's going to do some nasty things. So I'm going to go with Dustin on this West Coast.
Okay. Ryan Smith.
I'm going to call shenanigans there. I don't like sleeping on an Idolist Shobek. I know it can be very deceptive on how good it is. Joey's been playing a long time. He's going to make charges when he's ready for them. He's going to make charges when he thinks he's got his flank shored up. I don't see him falling into the traps. Dustin's kind of setting him in his army comp, and he'll set it deployment. I got to give Joey the nod in this one.
Okay. Ryan Munsell.
Oh boy, this is a close one. I think we're gonna go with Joey just because of experience.
All right. Pat.
Going with Joey. I love Triple Dread Fiends, and that Void Lurker is going to play all sorts of shenanigans as well. And he has the experience to be able to handle the surge.
What's that goofy place with all the shit on the walls and the mozzarella sticks?
Shenanigans.
Oh, is it shenanigans? Mike?
I think if Joey plays it patiently, he's going to take this one pretty easy, to be honest.
Okay. Matt?
I'm going to throw in with Dustin. I've seen how much heal that list can put out, and I don't know how much patience can wear out all the heal.
Cool. Jeff?
Yeah, see, I like Dustin's list better. I think that it does better things in this matchup, but it is a big deal to have the experience on your side of things, and Joey has some tricks that he can pull, and with the experience, those tricks are higher likelihoods to get off. So give it to me that Joey gets a little extra tire irony and hits him in the legs and when he's not looking. So give me Joey on this one.
So you want Joey to get off?
Yep.
Okay.
Don't we all?
I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. Let's jump into table 18. We have Aidan Rogers hailing from the Pacific Northwest, bringing Elves. And he is playing, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, so apologies in advance, Alan Wigness from the Midwest, playing Dwarves. I think, Smith, you've got the first read.
I do. I'm waiting for it to come around because I don't actually have the list in
That's a
front of me.
fucking solid picture. Go back to that for a second.
Yeah. Yeah, right off the bat,
Yeah,
Alan's
it's
got my
fucking-
vote just
God,
because
oh
he
my
looks like my kind of player.
He looks like ready for
Liking and
battle.
glasses.
Aidan looks like he's ready for a vaudeville performance.
Brought my fancy hat.
Hey, at least he doesn't have steampunk goggles on.
Yet.
Should go back to the list because, oh god. All right. So Aidan is bringing a Kindred Archers Horde with the Heart Seeking chant because I think they come standard with it. I'm not sure.
Is that heart seeking or hearts eking?
That one is Heart Seeking. It is not the Here Seeking chant. I expect to see that one later on, or even the Here Seeking. He's got Thanarian Seaguard in whatever quantity they come in. He's got 2 Forest Shambler regiments, a Forest Shambler Horde, 2 Stormwind Cav with the Caterpillar Potion on one of them. Not both, obviously, because you can't take 2 magic items. Drakon Rider Horde, a pair of Standard Bearers. One has a diadem. One is mounted on a Loot of Insatiable Darkness. A Forest Warden and a Tree Herder with the Banner of the Griffin. If you don't have a Griffin perched in your tree, I feel you're letting a modeling opportunity pass there.
All right, he's playing against Alan Wigness here, and we've got Dwarves from him. It's a horde of Bulwarkers, and they've got a Brew of Strength, a troop of Sharpshooters, 2 hordes of Earth Elementals naked, 2 Flame Belchers, 1 Organ Gun, 2 Stone Priests with Martyr's Prayer 7. He's got a Mastiff Hunting Pack and Gollix Fury, the legendary Steel Behemoth. He's taking 2 hordes of Ogre Shooters as his allies, and a Boomer Sergeant. That is just a bunch of shooting, pretty much, in a line to hold it.
It's got a lot of defense 6 between the Bulwarkers and the Earth Elementals.
Yeah, it's literally a line with some shooting behind it. Yeah.
Outgunning the Elves
Yep.
significantly.
Something you see a lot. Aidan's going to have the speed. Alan's not going to care because he plays Dwarves and he's used to it all day long.
Yeah.
I'm just
like
not.
Aidan's going to be able to get into those shooters pretty easily, though.
Yeah,
It's going to come down to deployment, whether he's got terrain to support it.
You're just doing it on purpose. That's awesome. Yeah, one thing that does bother me about the elf list, like it starts out kind of generic for what you've been seeing out of elves as of late, but then it kind of goes off in a tangent on to maybe something that was more reminiscent of what you would see maybe 2 years ago or so. The tree herder he's not good right now. I mean, I play one, and I'll tell you, he's not good right now. He's not worth the points. You're better off with a stone elemental. The forest warden, it gets good, in Cock 19 pack, but obviously he's using that as his chaff, which is still nice, and he scores. I get it, but 2 army standard bearers in here, not really where you want to see your elves going. I think I'd rather see a priest or a mage rather that has an inspiring talisman or something, and then something that can do literally anything else. 2 forest shambler regiments. It's kind of a waste to take a tree herder to surge 2 regiments, and you're not going to use his surge. Yeah, you're not going to use his surge though. I mean, like from experience, it comes up so rarely that you're going to spend that amount of time, using his surge.
He's got 5 Vanguard units, though. That Vanguard Griffin does make those Shamblers stash 15.
Yeah, but they only have 9 attacks. They don't do anything for damage output. And if you're putting them into combat, then you're not shooting stuff. And it's like, it's just not a list that's very centered. There's not a lot of synergy. Like, I get what he's attempting to try to do there, but you're going to be getting in your own way of shooting.
Well, he's got 2 waves, right?
Yeah, but you're going to be, all your stuff you're moving up is going to get in your own way. You're always going to have hindered shots, which is not exactly something you want to be dealing with. But
I mean, he's probably taking shots to one of the opposite corners of where he's moving. That wave.
I get it. I think it's I don't think it's focused enough, and I think the dwarf lists is going to be a little bit more mobile and shooty, and he can kind of pin down one side of stuff. And the dwarf shooting is a little bit more
He's got a lot more 36-inch range.
Yes,
He's
and
gonna
he
start
can delete
shooting.
units for shooting instead of just half-assing it, you know?
I mean, I disagree that the elf list isn't focused because it's focused on getting into combat. Honestly, you ignore the shooting. It has two things that shoot, but
to get out there and get there.
you have a
fast.
lot of Vanguard and a lot of Speed 9 and Speed 10. Really, this is a combat elf list that has some shooting.
Yeah. Do you want to Vanguard all of your 4 Shamblers up where you can't really support them and stuff with those Stormwind or second, you know, they're kind of like coming for a second punch.
They'll be caught up by the second turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Stormwind and the Dragons can support all those Shamblers. And essentially, I think you overload one side with fast stuff and Vanguardy stuff, and then have the other side just shoot.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to terrain.
I wasn't joking.
The two Flame Belchers are pretty good for, you know, speed or get in your face defense. So those two Flame Belchers and Golok's Fury or Golok's Fury, I think Nate Clevenger was telling me I was pronouncing it incorrectly, so I apologize. But yeah, you know, I mean, this has a lot of really effective shooting in the dwarf list, I think.
Doesn't have very much effective combat though. Like nothing's above Crush 1. Nothing
against elves. It doesn't need to be.
The shooters and the shooters fight just as good as they fight better than they shoot.
Yeah,
though.
the best part about ogre shooters is in the end they're ogres.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, but you say it doesn't matter against elves, but half of this elf list is trees.
Maybe, I mean, if the elves get some good shots off on the ogre shooters first, there's a little squishy.
At 36 inches?
Yes. Well, I mean, the table is only going to be 24 inches apart. Like that 36 inches only matters if you drop it.
Deploy on the line.
Yeah, as far as the corner as possible.
Yeah.
But he probably wants to play on the line, like with this army.
Not with that Vanguard.
It depends on the scenario.
And the terrain.
I would say this legitimately does depend on the scenario, though.
Yeah. If it's invade, it'll be close.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like with invade, this dwarf list is just like fuck invade. I don't care about it. I'll just play everything else.
Just shoot everything that crosses the 24-inch line.
The dwarf list just tries to make back its points in attrition and invade.
I agree.
But you know, if it's anything where Alan is able to just tank and just sit on the back of the board, then I don't think he's going to have any trouble.
I just want to point out with those ogre shooters and Golok's Fury and 2 Flame Belchers that he's pushing up with that line, that's gonna melt elves so fast. I mean, so fast.
I will say that the elves, their shooting might as well not matter because you also have 2 Martyr's Prayers in this list.
Yeah, I mean, but you can't heal the ogres
so fast.
Yeah.
The ogres are not going to be in range for a couple of his shooters for at least 2 to 3 turns, depending on if he moves up to double and gives up a turn of shots.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I definitely still think the dwarf list is the stronger one here. I think that the elf one isn't like quite 100% out of it, but yeah, it definitely is going to.
I think elf list can do great in some of the rest of the tournament. I just think this is not the match he wants to see.
No,
I think the elves are going to take this.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's jump into votes then.
Let's go to it.
Jeremy.
Okay. The last time I spoke with Aidan, I was apologizing for upsetting his son at a tournament, which...
That was whoa. Hold on. We're going to time out on the votes. Why don't you give us a little background here, Jeremy?
So Aidan's a really nice guy, and he brings his son to tournaments with him, and we played in round 2, and we talked about it on the show before, where it's a lose-lose situation. You're trying to
lose twice.
You're trying to compete to win an event, and you're playing with a younger player, and we were playing, and I was letting him take back things. Suffice it to say, you get your Soul Reavers into 5 units flanks throughout 5 turns of a game. It's probably not great.
God.
And his son was pretty upset and had decided that he didn't want to play in the tournament anymore and wanted to go,
Oh, this is the puppy kicking story.
to go home. But we talked. I mean, I went and I talked with him and with his dad, and I think it resolved itself to a situation that was good in the end. It's just one of those hard situations. You want to bring your kid with you to an event and have a good time and have some dad-son time, and then Jeremy comes around and is a total jerk off, as Jeremy does, I guess. So, but Aidan, but
the thing is, Alan's gonna have to apologize to Aidan for kicking Aidan's ass after this.
Aidan, I blame Tom Millard. Tom Millard he was running the tournament, and he's the true person who's at fault because he shouldn't have matched me up against Fenton is his name, I think, right? Ryan, I think that was his name.
Fenton, yeah.
Yeah. But beside the point, Aidan did win Best Battle in that tournament by a huge amount. So I know that this army can do pretty well. But like what Jeff said, man, that shooting is just going to, it's like last scene of Last Samurai, it's just going to get chompy chomp. So I got to go with Dwarves.
Okay. Ryan Smith.
I think Alan is going to be apologizing to Aidan for kicking his ass so hard that his son feels it.
Ryan Munsell.
I'm going with Aidan. I've played him many times. He's very good with the list, and I think he has some answers to some of the stuff in the dwarf list.
Okay. Pat?
I'm going with Aidan. I think that elf list actually is stronger than it looks.
Okay. Mike?
I'm going to go with Alan. I mean, I'm not going to discount that elf list. I think it's a good list. I just think that the dwarf one's better in the matchup.
That's fair. Matt?
Yeah, I think the Dwarves have the tools to get this done. So, and that elf list is probably going to hurt for it.
Okay. Jeff, last vote.
So fast. Yeah, give me Alan on this one. I'd give it an 18 on that one.
Alrighty.
All right, really quick. I was grabbing a beer. How did Jeremy vote?
He went with Alan to make him feel less bad about his son getting destroyed by him.
You mean
he was apologizing?
I thought he was going with Aidan.
that would be Aidan, not Alan. Alan didn't have a son that Jeremy kicked the ass of.
No.
That we know of.
Yes.
As a guy in the list of kicking a kid's ass so hard they cry during a tournament.
No, I'm still going with the Dwarves because I might as well make both family members mad at me, right?
Oh,
okay.
Just go for the trifecta.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right. Let's hop into table 19. We have Daniel Wright from the Pacific Northwest, who's bringing Empire of Dust, playing against Lance Hatcher from the Mountain region, and he's bringing Salamanders.
Yep.
And let's see who's reading.
I'm reading Daniel's list.
Yep, there you go. And I've got Lance's list up.
He has Empire of Dust. He's got a Horde of Revenants with the Casket of the Damned and a Brew of Sharpness. He has 2 regiments of mummies. Both also have caskets. One has the Brew of Courage. So -19 there. He's got some enslaved Guardian Archers with Blessing of the Gods, a horde of them. He's got a Regiment of Swarm. He's got 2 regiments of Revenant Chariots. He has 3 Bone Giants. He has an assortment of Cursed High Priests. He has 1 with Heal and Banner of the Griffin, 1 mounted with Heal and Shroud of the Saint, and 1 mounted with Heal. So, very grindy list.
And Lance playing Salamanders. He has a horde of Salamander Primes with the Crystal Pendant of Retribution.
Damn.
That is interesting. He has 2 regiments of Ancients. He has 2 regiments of Ceremonial Guard. He has a horde of Fire Elementals. He has 1, 2, 3 hordes of Ember Sprites. 2 greater fire elementals, 2 heralds. One has the warbow of Kaba, the other one has the flying hammer. He has 2 mage priests. One has Banechant 2, heal 3, and Shroud of the Saint. The other one has Banechant 2, Martyr's Prayer, and the Amulet of the Fireheart.
I love Lance's list.
I do too.
Interesting, right?
It
one
has
thing
everything. Oh my god, that's so good.
The one thing you complain about primes is how big their frontage is, so multiple units can charge them. Crystal Pendant solves that beautifully.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, come in here. See what's happening.
Is Lance the only person with the balls to bring salamanders?
Yes, he is. We only have one, and he is that.
No, it's not true, Mark.
Is it not? I thought I counted 1.
Ryan,
I-
bring it.
You are? Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
I was gonna say we
What
did
am I
do a list last night.
Let me go
Let's be
back.
honest, I like Lance's list better, so.
Just
I
because
just-
Ryan just bent you over the table last year.
Yeah, I had never played Ryan.
Yeah. we've
I
not
thought, you,
played.
I thought he was that high breath Salamanders list.
Oh
I was
no,
worried
that's
about.
Joey.
He played Joey last year, I think.
160.
Oh,
Joey.
Joey.
Ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, this is a really cool list from Lance, and I really think that the Empire Dusts person does not want to see any of that.
Yeah,
I mean-
no.
Any of it. It's just so much crushing strength. And he's just living on a prayer with that defense 5 stuff. It's meant to be an anvil list, and good luck, sir. I mean, whew. I mean, I don't see a surge in there though. That's the only thing I don't see from Lance. But I guess
Also, he
doesn't
shouldn't
care.
have Shard of Saint. Just be second Martyr's Prayer. It's cheaper by
Yeah.
15 points.
I'd rather
Yeah.
see a surge, honestly. At least have one option to surge, but that's my opinion.
Especially since you're going with greater fire elementals rather than fire
Exactly.
element boards.
He does have.
If you're going
he
with
does have
boards,
fire
I can
on the
see.
board, too.
Yeah, but with 2 graders, the graders are ideal for surging.
Yep,
Those
you can
mage
fire.
priests
You
have
can breath
elite,
weapon
too.
and then
That's
surge him
handy.
in.
This is the first list that is actually really item light coming from the Lizardman side. Like the first 12 units in the list don't have items, and I'm actually happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the list, Lance. Good job,
Yeah.
bro.
It's a good list.
Mike, you should like the Ember Sprite hordes.
Oh, I love that list. And I hope those Ember Sprites just destroy everyone.
They're deceiving, man.
I
They're
was
deceiving.
Just after I was just metaphorically laughed out of the room for proposing that Ember Sprites were viable, I hope they just devastate the entire floor.
Lance is used to bringing lit units that aren't considered great. Like, I remember once he ran 5 Gagathal hunters with bows. And they actually did some work at Slobberknocker.
Yeah, I played against that list actually at Slobberknocker. It was a tough game.
Yeah. Like this Empire of Dust list is kind of looking like that undead one we had a while back with the Mortibris. Or not Mortibris, Morgoth space list with like the 40 surge. Like all these caskets thrown in it everywhere. Just feels like he's kind of living on a I want a 20-inch surge and I hope that it works situation. Because I could never justify the points for caskets. It gets very expensive for very situational surges.
I like him on nimble mummy regiments. That's fun.
Sure. But he doesn't have one of those.
No, he doesn't. I was just stating.
I mean, he's invested only 30 points total. I don't know. It's a matter of preference at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a big investment. I think it's kind of wasted on the Revenant Horde, but I don't know what else he would use those 10 points on. That felt like an afterthought.
I mean, he doesn't have a lot with a ton of speed, so maybe in scenario games, the Revenants might hang around for a while, and you want to throw them, as far as possible into his zone or something.
He's got Banner of the Griffin. He could have swapped that around and squeezed in the cast 2 spells item. And so,
I
there's
think
like some
Banner's
spell
really good.
tweaks here. But yeah, no, I definitely like the Lizardman list Salamanders list in this.
Brian Broder mentions 3 bone giants and 3 priests. And I mean, that's a good point. He's got a lot of potentials.
Yeah, but
Where do they go?
almost everything is fearless and doesn't really give a shit. I mean, he only has his attacks hit on 4s. I mean,
I will say, balls, like, props to Lance for bringing ceremonial guard regiments.
Right?
They are definitely, like, it's a tie between them and Unblooded for most hated infantry choice for Salamanders.
Yeah.
Even the, like you said, even the Ember Sprites. I remember when we did the army review for Salamanders, and I was like, "Oh, these Ember Sprites seems kind of cool," and they were like, "No, they're bad, they're horrible, you suck."
Yeah, there's somebody talking shit about that already on the chat. Like, is everybody high? Why would you think those are good?
So I like unconventional stuff.
They're not nearly as bad as people say they are.
I think
they're
that's
not
what
a good choice, but
I think Mike said this to me once. Like, people are talking about how bad some of the uncommon items in Salamander's list are, yet they keep on losing with what people are generally taking in Salamanders.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, a lot of people are running the same things and are upset that Salamanders are bad, discounting half the list entries.
yep.
That's a fair point.
Say,
I think within a list build, the Ember Sprites are fine. I don't think that they make it in this list. I think they're fine for doing what he's trying to achieve with them, which I'm not going to go into, but like, I think that they're fine in what he's attempting to do with them.
Yeah, they look fine in this list. Plus, I'm sure, like, theme-wise, you have quite a lot of things on fire,
Mhm.
which is kind of cool.
Yep. I like it.
All right, let's do some voting. Jeremy,
I'm gonna go Salamanders.
Ryan Smith,
Lance.
Ryan Munsell,
I'm gonna go with Dan.
Pat,
Lance.
Michael,
I'm going to go with Lance, and I'm going to say this is probably tied now for my favorite list out of all the tables.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, tied with the Horse Raiders one from the last time.
Of course
But yeah,
you would.
definitely going with Lance.
Mike is the Kings of the War hipster.
Matt,
yeah, I gotta give it to Lance.
and Jeff.
Yeah, Lance. Love the list. Going Lance for sure.
Alrighty. So that was table 19. We're going to jump over to table 20 now. We have hailing from the West Coast, Mike Grant, playing Empire of Dust. Playing from the Northeast, Corey Wallitzer, who's bringing Varngur.
Is it? Oh, it is Empire Dust.
Yep. Well, that's what it's got on my sheet. I don't know.
He's
if
got
it's-
Undead Allies.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, that's what tripped me up.
Okay, so I have Mike's list.
Yes, sir.
Mike is one of the SoCal guys, so he's plays with Rashad and Scott. He was anyone who listened back in the day to West Coast Hammer Time or West Coast Kings. He was one of the guys on that show, so solid player. So he is bringing Empire of Dust with some undead allies. So the Empire, I'll do the. Let me do the Empire of Dust part first. So he's got 2 hordes of skeletons, 3 regiments of revenant chariots. 1 has caterpillar, 2 bone giants, 2 bone dragons. He's got 2 cursed high priests. 1 is mounted and 1 has the healing brew. And then for the undead allies, he has a horde of skeleton warriors, 2 troops of wraiths, a necromancer mounted with Bane Chant.
Looks like it's pretty much just a take the 2 Wraith troops.
Basically, yeah.
All right, and then for Corey, we've got Varngur with looks like Goblin allies, Bloodsworn Horde with the Staying Stone, a Fallen Horde with the Brew of Strength, 2 regiments of Mounted Sons, one of which has the Brew of Haste, the other has Pathfinder, a Naked Horde of Dire Fangs, the King on Chimera with the Gift for Brutal and the Mace of Crushing, and Magnilda the Fallen. And then on the Goblin allies, he has 2 regiments of Spitters, a troop of Fleabag Rider Sniffs, 1 War Trombone, and then a King on a Chariot.
So, of all the Varngur lists I've seen today, I never realized that it was possible to take units without automatically taking the gift. The third one where we're seeing like Staying Stone as Bloodstone Horde instead of spending the extra 5 points for Fury.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I have to looking at the other list, the Empire Dust and Undead. I have to think that the allies must have been a modeling choice because EOD has scavengers. Could have saved himself a fortune if he just wanted some.
Yeah, but they're not defense
flying
6.
units.
You gotta have defense 5 and 6, Mike. Everything has defense 5 and 6, don't you know?
Yeah, they're not Def 6, but they are way cheaper than that whole allied
Oh yeah.
force. You could have had like 5 regiments of scavengers.
Yeah.
I don't like the random caterpillar on the regiment of chariots either. Like especially not on a regiment.
Yeah, not on a regiment. It's
They don't
definitely not worth it.
Yeah.
What else would you spend those 20 points on, though?
On those 20 points?
Maybe Weakness?
Yeah, Weakness would have been a good option. Mounting the other priest could have been an option because he's only mounted one of them, looks like.
True, yeah.
He definitely had some other things he
You
could
could go haste and fire oil.
Yeah, exactly. Like, haste might have been okay.
Revenant and Chariot regiments have, 8 attacks?
Yeah. And they hit on 4s. Like,
You can't move them to double anyway, so yeah,
Right.
it seems an odd choice.
yeah. If it was a horde, sure, but on a regiment level, that's or scrape 5 points somewhere and put Banner of the Griffin on that, which that would have been okay. I mean, I like all the monsters. It's another monster-heavy EOD list.
Which I think is what you really need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's EOD's biggest strength.
Yeah, no, I agree.
When I played this list at Riddle of Steel, Rashad's tournament last year, it was assembled and primed, and it hadn't been painted at all. So I wouldn't be surprised that some of the undead allies were for some modeling choices. But he's good at this list. I mean, he plays it well. Being someone, Mike doesn't play all the time, so being someone who only doesn't play very regularly, he is doesn't know how to manage those bone dragons and bone giants. I'm just not a big fan
play
of.
those monsters well.
Sorry, what?
If he can play those monsters well, he has a really good chance. Because 3 skeleton warrior hordes is hard to chew through.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm looking at the Varngur stuff, and he can definitely pop one of those a turn, probably 2, but the third one might actually give him the trick. And if he can chaff it up right, he might be able to prevent double charges, and that would allow him to get the flanks he's going to need here. Because that's the only way he takes apart this list. He's got to get flanks on everything at the same time. I actually think he needs one more priest. I mean, I guess the Necromancer, but the Necromancer's stuck surging 2 troops of raid.
The only thing that really kills from Grant are things that have to be surged into flanks.
Yeah.
Like both Empire of Dust and the Undead. Nothing's going to kill on the front charge, so it's very knife edge to play.
Yeah, I mean, with the 2 troops of race and the 3 revenant chariots, like he can definitely chaff up a lot of stuff in one go. So maybe
I don't see him using those wraiths as traps though.
So, yeah.
Mainly because he doesn't really have any hammers. I'm guessing those wraiths are meant to
try and open up flanks.
like surge. Yeah. Well, it's between the 2 Wraith troops and the 2 Bone Dragons. He's going to have some flanks. But even in the flank, those aren't really going to kill many of their anger.
Yeah.
Not one go, no.
Nope.
Hitting on 4 sucks like that.
Alrighty, let's do some votes. Jeremy, you're up first. Jeremy's on mute.
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is really tough because you talk about, if he gets flanks, like surge flanks, you win. Or it's really good for Empire of Dust.
Mhm.
And I think that's their play style, right? You often talk about surging into flanks as like catching someone out, but I think for Empire of Dust, that's how the army functions really, is you get those surge flanks. So I feel pretty torn with this one. I don't know. I'm going to go with Mike. He's in my region. I honestly am pretty torn. So I guess I'm just going to fall back on the person who I've played.
Okay.
I don't know. It's going to be close.
Ryan.
I was all ready to go all in on Mike. I like his list. I think it's a finesse list, and if you know how to use it, you'll use it really well. And then you mentioned he's not playing that often, and I kind of go, because this Varngur list has to have a very specific sort of approach to how you dismantle it, or it just wheels and destroys you.
Yep.
And I think if Mike is not getting a lot of regular play in, Corey's going to get him out on something and turn a flank and just roll him up. So I'm gonna give the nod to Corey as much as it hurts me. I like Mike a lot.
Alrighty. Ryan.
I'm gonna go with Corey. I think he's got too much offensive output.
Sounds good. Pat.
I'm going to go with Corey. Mike's list really needs a very experienced hand, and he might surprise me, but experience-wise, this is Corey's third Masters.
Yep.
Gotta go with him.
Okay. Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Corey too. I don't know that anybody talked too much about those allies that he's got. 30 plus bow shots against a lot of defense 4 over there is going to be a factor as well.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, enough's been said about the Varngur punch and how, really that could just run over this EOD list if he's not careful. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Corey.
Okay. Sorry, Matt.
Yeah, no, I'm a throw in with Corey. I really like the what the Empire of Dust list is trying to do, but I just don't think it has the right amount of punch.
Sounds good. Jeff?
Well, Corey, he's got the reach to get out there and destroy units before you get the chance to get all crazy with him. I think he's got this one pretty solid.
Alrighty, we are jumping into table 21. 2 tables left. We have Robert Brandon from the Midatlantic playing Elves versus Mike fucking Rossi from the Northeast playing Dwarves.
All right, I've got Robert's list. He has 2 hordes of archers, one with nimble, one with heart-seeking chant. He has 2 regiments of forest shamblers. He has 2 hordes of dracons, one with sharpness, one with pathfinder. He has a horde of chariots. He has an army standard bearer mounted with the loot. He has 2 noble war chariots, one that has inspiring talisman, and he has a dragon kindred lord with dwarven ale.
Nice. Alrighty, Ryan Smith, you ready?
I'm waiting for the click. I don't have lists in front of me because I'm not prepared for stuff. Imagine that.
Shacker.
Yeah, busy doing terrain. Sorry.
I guess.
So Mike, I was gonna do a horrible impersonation of you, but I won't make everyone suffer through it. Mike is running dwarves. He's got the wall of iron formation, which I love. Pair of ironclads, regiments with the flying hammer, horde of bulwarkers with measured force, a dwarf king with the wings of honey maze. Because, flying dwarf kings just come out of the box that way. He's got a troop of berserkers. He's got a pair of sharpshooters. He's got a horde of earth elementals with blessing. Triple organ gun, because 2 is just not enough. A pair of army standard bearers. One has the diadem. One's got the loot. That's how standard bearers come. Stone priest with martyr's prayer and the inspiring talisman. And he's got the non-legendary steel behemoth.
Odd. Maybe it's just a points thing. He didn't have the points.
Yeah, I would imagine it is. Love
What
that
a
iron.
achiever.
Yeah.
It's a lot of points.
The dwarf list is good one of several we've seen in this Masters that have more drops than unit strength. That's something I don't like. I do really like the Berserker Troop, mainly because that's dash 16 for only 125 points.
They're good.
But this dwarf list doesn't seem to have very much attrition, which dwarves kind of need.
Yeah, there's not a lot of punch there either. He's got some grind. Wall of Iron gives you a little more grind than you expect it to have because you get Iron Resolve with it. But it doesn't have the massive defense I want, and I'm not seeing the punch there, Mike. Come on, it's shooting. Oh, we don't do shooting.
These 3 organ guns and the 2 sharpshooter units to really weaken stuff up before he has to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe grind
He's
up.
really relying on those shots.
Yeah, but this elf list can delete those units before they have a chance to really do much.
The elf list, that's 11 drops and 20 unit strength. That's just an impressive amount of unit strength on such an elite army.
Yeah, 2 hordes of archers will do that. That's 6 right there.
It's really a high amount of unit strength for just elves in general.
Yeah,
It is.
I'm counting.
I am interested on why he chose the archers rather than sea guards. I feel like that definitely has to be a points issue. But nimble archers, I mean, a lot of people don't really realize this, but elven archers are defense 4.
Yeah.
They're what, 21, 23, 22, 24? They have good nerve and good
They
defense.
take a lot.
They can hold the line.
Yeah, he's got 64 bow shots that count. That all hit on 4s. Half of that can move and shoot on 4s.
It just seems just really, really, really balanced at the cost of at the cost of bodies with only 11 drops, but still it seems like it has some answer for anything.
Yeah, I really like the elf list. I think it's favorite one I've seen.
I like the caterpillar on the second horde of Drakon Riders.
Yeah.
You don't often see that on flying units,
Mm-hmm.
but essentially he's one with hitting on 2s with elite with sharpness, and the other one guaranteeing that pretty much if you're landing
Always
in
hits on
cover,
3s.
you're always hitting on 3s. I think that's a nice unit to put on a flying unit like that you don't see often.
Well, that if they ever get grounded, you can run through the terrain and not worry about it then too.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I really feel like that caterpillar could go better on a chariot horde even then.
Probably.
Or you can say, right?
The downside on Robert's list is at only 11 drops, every piece becomes important. And if Mike can get 1 or 2 of them shot off, then he suddenly gets to dictate a lot of the game to him.
Yeah, the elf's got no heal. So whatever you put
there's
down
no
is going to
recovery.
stick.
And some of that
The
stuff's
elves
pretty
have-
fragile if he gets a good turn of shooting with 2 organ guns.
I mean, the elves have the chariots, the army standard bearer, and the shamblers that he can throw away. Everything else he pretty much needs.
Yeah, he'll get the drop on shooting the organ guns too, though, because he's nimble. He can move and shoot them. I think he may be able to take out 1 organ gun before it gets to shoot.
Dwarf organ guns are surprisingly resilient.
It really does depend on terrain. If he can deploy those organ guns in the forest,
Dude,
Yeah.
And at 15 drops, he can put those organ guns down last wherever he sees the weakness.
And that behemoth is not going to be easy to take out for him.
those sharpshooters can take out a noble chariot by themselves.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the legendary behemoth is it's more expensive, but I think it's so much better than the regular one. I would have liked to.
Defensively, they're about the same. You lose out on a very inspiring. The 18-inch range is counteracted by move and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's closer than a lot of people think, especially considering the legendary is 100 points more.
Yeah, and he wants that steel behemoth to be able to move and shoot in case people are coming at them war machines. He can just turn it and kick some ass with it. So
Yeah.
It's a lot of his flying defense.
Mm-hmm.
Which he needs because 2 hordes of Drakon Riders.
Yep.
Alrighty, let's do some votes.
And Mike is more than happy to play against
Or Jeff, keep talking.
No,
keep
Jeff
talking.
never does that.
Well, I actually listened to their podcast, so he was talking about playing Robert Brandon last time, and he's just like, he was such a fucking gentleman, like nicest guy in the world. I love him.
The
So
picture
they're
he
going
sent
to have
me
a great
was
game either which way. So
Okay,
All right,
Jeremy.
now you can call votes.
You can vote now. If you want to come off mute.
I think I'm going to go. I just really like Robert's list. Very balanced. A lot of tools. So I think I'm going to go with Robert. This one.
Ryan Smith.
I'm going to continue my trend of like the past 5 lists of disagreeing with Jeremy. I'm going to go with Mike on this one.
Parody. I like it. Ryan.
Going with Robert.
Pat.
Go with Robert.
Mike.
I'm gonna go with Mike. I think he can pick up some of those really important drops from his shooting, and that's gonna be tough to deal with.
Okay. Matt.
Still probably going with Robert.
And Jeff.
yeah, I think Robert is the no-brainer choice on this one for his skill level and how good of a player he is. But I got a gut instinct that Rossi's going to pull something off here, and it's going to be an upset. So I will go with Rossi.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Rossi's not going to pull that off until he plays you in second round after we all vote.
All righty. Let's jump into our final table for the evening. We have table 22. We have Mr. Ray Shields coming from the Midatlantic, playing Ratkin, against Kevin Spear from the Northeast, playing Brotherhood. Rats versus Knights.
That'd be fun. All right. Ray is starting it out with some rats with some tunnel slaves. He's got a regiment and 2 hordes of them. He's got that followed up by a massive shit ton of shock troops. Because where 1 is good, 2 is better, 3 is great, and 4 is why the fuck not?
4 is just being excessive.
Yeah. So he has 4 hordes of shock troops. 1 with a brew of strength, 1 with caterpillar, 1 with fire oil. Did I miss anything? Oh,
No,
he just accidentally forgot to equip him with another magic item.
There's
the
no
last-
sharpness.
Right. All right, and then we got a horde of blight.
Is it a horde or a regiment?
Actually, sorry, it is a regiment. Sorry,
Oh.
a regiment
I
of
didn't
blight.
make a mistake. Yes.
Yay, Pat.
Yeah, you did. You got the
Like-
word on there twice. Try again.
Yeah, regiment of blight. 3 weapons teams with no piercing upgrade. Gas.
They're
I
showing it on the
know.
summary.
He unclicked them.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a
Enforcer.
mistake right there. I just thought they
So there's a
automatically
mistake
came
on the
with
list.
that.
They automatically
They
do come with it. You have to take it off.
automatically
I
click.
thought- Wow.
Yeah.
House is
Enforcer.
gonna pay for 4 hordes of shock troops.
Right, yeah, seriously. God forbid you drop a magic item. An enforcer on a flea bag, I think. Yep. With a blade of slashing. He's got 2 warlocks. One of them has Bane Chant 3 and Inspiring, and the other one just has Bane Chant 3 because his mother didn't love him. And then we've got a Swarm Crier. He's got the Loot of Insatiable Darkness for another magic item, and a Demon Spawn.
That demon
with-
spawn has the loot of insatiable darkness
Says
somehow
that right
too.
there.
Yeah, fly speed 10.
Hey, at least Pat's got the army list right at the top. Unlike with Dan Cammack's Empire of Dust, Twilight Kin thing.
Yeah, that's weird that he doesn't have the Storm of Lead.
Yeah.
He's playing against a Brotherhood list from Kevin with some Basilia allies. He's got a horde of villain spearmen, 2 regiments of Order of the Brotherhood, 1 with the Brew of Strength, some villain initiates with Dwarven Ale, a regiment, a horde of Order of the Forsaken with the Potion of the Caterpillar, a Forsaken Beast with Ensnare and Breath Attack 10, an Exemplar of the Brotherhood mounted with the Diadem of Dragonkind, a Devoted with Martyr's Prayer, Inspiring Talisman, a second devoted with Martyr's Prayer and the Loot of Insatiable Darkness, an Exemplar Hunter mounted with the Blade of Slashing, and of course he has taken the Undaunted Crusaders formation. The Basilian allies, or I forget, are a regiment of men-at-arms, a regiment of Eloy,
Not a horde.
not a horde for some reason, and an Eloy.
Huh. I guess you didn't just have the points.
I don't understand why there's just a random men-at-arms regiment.
I don't either.
Like, that could have been a horde of Eloy.
I'm guessing unit strength and being able to use them as chaff as well, because they're relatively
Also, you
inexpensive.
can use a Martyr's Horde, though, or Martyr's Regiment instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a modeling choice, but I mean,
Yeah.
to be fair, this entire army could have just been fielded as a Basilean army if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
That Forsaken Beast missing out on that region, I think, is a pretty big misstep. I think it's going to... You have way... For the small amount of points you could have put regen on that and used as an anvil, there's so many places he could have taken those points from to do it.
Breffen, I mean, that's 30 points, though. Breffen and Snare, I feel like it's a pretty good combo. So you can sit in a
Regen and
forest.
Ensnare on something that has that high of a breakpoint is very good. Especially with Pathfinder.
I mean, this list is a little funky, and on the opposite side of it is 4 hordes of shock troops.
Yeah.
Ray was such a nice guy, and then I look at that list, and oh my god.
I was like, even before you get into the way he plays this list, which is phenomenal in the way that he uses his characters with it, but the demon spawn, 4 hordes of shock troops, 2 hordes of tunnel slaves to screen everything, and or just
Ryan, he already won his best sports at your tournament. He doesn't need
He
a best
did.
sports.
I still
again.
have the trophy for him.
3
I'm gonna have
weapon
to
teams.
take that back.
Yeah, but the weapon team's not having the.
Oh
not
no,
having
they're
that
just
fierce.
He
Yeah,
did
the
exclude
weapon
Storm of Lead. Hashtag Fluffy Skaven. Fluffy Rat.
That's how he makes it softer. That's how he justifies it.
Yeah, no sharpness and no storm of lead. It's a soft list now.
yeah.
I think that rat list is a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
I just would love to see so many shock troops. It's just amazing.
Yeah,
It's not a thing of beauty. He's like, oh, how many shock troops can I put in before I have to paint other models?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5th.
160
I'm just disappointed he didn't have
all
more.
day long.
I really like, just from like a hobby standpoint, Ray's army is really nice. He does like a kind of like alpine snow, which is so refreshing on rats, you know, to see like a different sort of basing scheme. And like what Matt was saying, I played him at Alamo, and he plays this list very well.
Yeah.
And I just don't, I mean, a horde of Alohi as an ally is so much better than a regiment. And what it
Regiment's
gives you.
been a nice little spots, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I think you could do things with regiments.
Yeah, you can in like certain scenarios when there aren't like, you know, 5,000 hordes all lining up next to each other. I mean, where are you going to get it in there?
That's the scenario you do want the regiment, though, is because you can get it into the slivers. If he leaves a sliver open, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, Ray's a pretty
40 mil
smart
space
player.
for a
But
flake.
I'm not saying that's going to help him. I mean, Ray's gonna roll over this. I'm just saying in that scenario. Yeah, Ray's such a good player too, man. He really is.
Oh, I mean, you just don't want to see that many hordes when you're a Brotherhood list that relies on.
You've
Yeah,
got to
break
break
and
on that
turn.
punch with
Yeah.
a Brotherhood list, and if you can't, you're stuck and you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Ray
thing.
will win the grind.
And the thing is, there's only there's 2 regiments, and then the Horde of Forsaken, and I guess the Villain Initiates, but like they're on 4s, so not really.
Yeah, and no regen knights, man.
He has a little bit of a bad roll with a double charge with both of those Brotherhoods, and he's not going to break a horde.
Yep.
Yeah. And even if he does, though, there's 4 of them.
And a rat demon flying around too.
And it still takes all 3 of his hammer units to even have a chance of killing it in one turn. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't see him getting all 3 in there.
And meanwhile, Ray's I mean, if Forsaken Beast can take maybe 2 turns, but most of Kevin's other stuff can't take more than 1 turn of shock troops.
Yeah. And there's
And
still
he's missing a Forsaken exemplar in this list too. I mean, there's just so many things that, as a playing Brotherhood, I think there's just so many things he's missing in this that I would like to see personally. But
yeah,
I'm sure he knows how to pilot it. But
yeah.
Also, double Martyrs casters against triple Lightning Bolt 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of those Lightning Bolt 5 is height 4, so he's going to see whatever he wants. With
Just zap whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough, man. I don't like not seeing a regiment of the Regen Knights in here either. They're just so clutch in this list.
So apparently, Ray also won Best Sports at Mountaineer. So Kevin, you're gonna get your shit pushed in, but you're gonna
He's
enjoy
gonna be
it.
polite about it.
Yeah.
Canadian.
It's gonna ask you if it's okay.
He's Canadian. You're good to go.
It's gonna say sorry every time a unit dies.
Sorry.
Yeah, one thing Ray asked me, which I thought was like really great after our game, instead of asking like, "Oh, what could I have done? Do you think to have played better?" He asked me, he's like, "What do you think I could have done to have been a better opponent for you to play against?" And I think that really speaks to his character, and those sportsmanship trophies are well earned by him.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Solid dude. Okay.
Apparently, Kevin is also a top sports guy from the Northeast. So
Oh.
this might be the most
It's gonna be a handy off.
All right, let's hop into votes. Jeremy, you get first.
I gotta go, Ray, and this is gonna be a rough one. This is one of the could be a pretty substantial win for Ray, I think.
Okay. Ryan Smith,
I'm giving Ray a lot of points in this one.
Ryan Munsell,
I'm gonna hop on the bandwagon. Ray's gonna win big.
Pat,
I don't think it's going to be as big as people think because attrition really is hard to get, but it's going to be right.
Yeah.
Mike,
I think Ray's going to take it for sure.
Matt,
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a straight blackjack thing, but it's going to be a very, very heavy Ray win.
and Jeff.
Yeah, 17 with Ray, I think, on this one.
I think that's correct. So that was the final table. We've got tables 23 through 32 again in 3 days. We'll be doing that. Anything stand out to anybody? Wow, Ryan Munsell just took off. He's like, and done.
Peace out, motherfucker.
So before we break, is there anybody that wants to throw anything out there, favorite army they saw or match that they want to watch, that sort of thing?
I want to watch Lance's.
God, Lance has
damn.
a big pair of balls. I love that list.
Good call.
That's usually a kiss of death. If I love a list, it's a crappy list normally.
It really is.
I love Lance's list, man. Lance, I'd love to watch that game.
Pat, do you want to do some?
If we are going to be voting for which 3 games we stream first round, that's out of all of the tournaments. We'll release the poll after the third matchup.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So we can vote for those too.
The Kevin and Devlin game is going to be pretty fun, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
He's got a bigger boner.
Yeah, short shorts and sleeveless cutoffs. You know, it's just going to be like a hot game. But that should be a fun. That matchup should be a cool personality matchup, I think.
I'm going to keep an eye on Joey and Dustin as well. I'm interested to see how those two armies interact.
Yeah, that's a case of great list versus someone with the experience to get around it.
Yep.
And I think that Joey is going to have the capability to pull off some really tricky shit, especially with those Dread Fiends.
Grant Fetter versus John Green is going to be interesting.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Interesting is the word you choose.
Okay, so we're gonna set the line on the over/under of how many times Grant has to ask him what a special rule does. At
Oh.
5. So if you want the over, 6 or more. If you want the under, 4 or less.
Oh,
Grant,
I think-
first round's on me.
I think you got to put it at 10. I mean,
Oh, really?
turn 1,
Shit.
you're going to be about 5 or 6 times by itself.
because
What
it's
are
gonna be
we
like,
doing, man?
wait, my
So
Pearcy
that
doesn't
would-
matter. Why?
What does Falcon do?
What's
Yeah.
that one do?
Well, and then you're going
It'll
to
only
have
take him
the,
a turn before he knows what Falcon does.
And is he playing his Spartans as his Romans?
Yes.
yeah, yes.
John's got the hidden advantage of clock pressure from having people try to figure out his list during their turn.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna real
Oh,
hard.
Lance has that too. You brought what?
What the fuck are these? I've never heard of these.
Yeah. What's an Ember Sprite? I gotta look that
Embers?
up.
What the fuck are embers?
Amber Sprites. That's my favorite list of the night for sure.
Oh yeah, I love Lance's list, man.
Crystal pendants on the Salamander Horde.
Yeah,
so
that's
cool.
clever.
Such
You
a
have to deal with
great,
me.
such a
You
great
can't
list,
deal with me on your own.
dude. Yeah, and if you don't combo charge it, you're not gonna pick it up, and you're gonna get flanked or all the rest of the fun stuff. And if you do combo charge it, you're gonna pay for it. Like it's beautiful.
Well, and then there's the 3 Ember Sprite Horde
Yeah,
to
they're
clean
just
up
sitting
anything
behind
that
it.
does come.
Yeah, just waiting to shoot it.
Yep.
I'm always going to give a shout out to Ray's list. I think out of all Ratkin lists that I ever get to see, that one's one of the more unique ones with how far down that combat it wants to go. And I miss
Yeah.
rats.
Do Raceless even really have any shooting?
It's
It
got
had not
Lightning bolts
blood.
and
it's got non-storm of lead shooting.
50
Yeah,
lightning bolt, 30 breath.
short storm of lead.
So it's got cleanup shooting.
Yeah.
Or chaff clear.
I just
Yeah.
want to see how far that list can go.
I think it'll do well. I don't think the
Right.
shooting's
Right.
gonna help
At
it.
least to round 2.
Yeah.
He'll do well.
He'll do well in the combat phase.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start modeling some Ember Sprites now. No one can tell me otherwise. They're masters.
You know, I was literally comparing them today because I played Trident Realms. So I was just like, the Noken, if you cross compare them, they're a little cheaper than Noken. You get just as many shots with them. The only thing you're really missing out on is the regen and snare.
Uh-huh.
You get the Vanguard with them, but the Vanguard's really pointless. But they're cheaper by a significant margin.
I mean, Vanguard is really good if you get first turn.
Can be.
I guess, yeah. But I mean, for the point difference, I think I'd rather have the Ember Sprites, honestly. You're talking 20 some odd points difference, so
Yeah, when you're trying to keep your investment low in a unit like that.
or you're spamming it, you know. Yeah. I think
With
with
the
Lance's
changes
list,
not
you want to
getting
see more breath
it-
weapons with it.
The ensnare on a knock-in definitely helps a lot more now.
Yeah,
'Cause it actually makes their regen matter.
yeah.
What I'm curious is there's still a lot of big names left that we haven't heard yet
Mm.
in round 3. So I'm excited.
There's a lot coming.
So,
Exciting.
I know we have Brad left. Who else do we have
Dustin,
left?
the Super Beast.
Dustin.
Yeah, Brad and Super Beast are still on there.
I will. I'll go pull it up. I will not say anything, but I'll look at it and nod knowingly.
Yeah, they are on there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I've actually got all of the matchups. I just haven't
Gotcha.
given you guys all of the matchups. So yeah, there's
We got half the South team left to cast.
yep, and you've got Rashad and like Brenton Williams and Matt Schaefer and
Chris
Corey
Casser.
Reynolds, Alex
Oh,
Chavez.
Alex Chavez, yeah, for the U.S. Master. He is the U.S. Master until the end of
Yeah.
this tournament.
You've got Mike Austin in there too. Kyle Poole.
Yeah,
There's
around
Matt.
the pretty stacked few people.
Yeah.
Did Matt Schaefer get rid off yet?
Nope, he is in the third round.
That'll be another good one.
Yeah,
What about Jeff Shilkin?
he is in the third round also.
Oh man, that's gonna be a good
Uh-huh.
cast. Woo!
Yeah.
Brian hasn't been read off yet either.
Who?
Brian Tucker. About how
You're
his-
right.
his
Brian Tucker
center-
and Brian Broder both.
I think you got
both of
about.
them are still
I
in
think you
there.
got over half of the favored people to win Masters in this last cast.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that could have a legitimate shot. Yeah.
You have the current master and the current paragon left to cast.
Yep.
Yep.
You know what's funny? That's all happy accident. It's not. I did not have to move any of the tables around or anything, based on how this spilled out.
Nice.
Question is the current master and the current paragon play each other?
Ooh.
You guys want to take bets? See if that
Yeah.
happens.
I don't think there's a way they don't. Honestly, I mean, I don't see how they don't run into each other by game 5.
It's pretty possible based on how the rest of the field is looking.
Masters is big enough field. You can actually dodge people.
Yeah.
You can't dodge them forever, though.
Not forever. I mean, because so far every master has had to go 6-0. So you pretty much have to end up playing like the best.
Yep.
Theoretically.
That's the whole point.
I mean, really, you're thinking about if someone loses round 1 and then wins out, and then the undefeateds draw in round 6. You know what I mean? You could have some crazy stuff happen.
We haven't had that happen yet, but that's
Yeah.
not to say that
Doesn't mean it
happen.
couldn't.
Good.
So far, we've had where the top table, the winner of the top table has won Masters.
I love that I'm playing the person game 1 that I was playing next to Jeremy on game 3 last year, and he's playing the same person he was playing at the same table next to me. Is so amazing.
Very
It's
funny.
So funny. And John's list is pretty fucking close to the same shit. So that's funny.
Alrighty, let's wrap it up, and we'll do this again in 3 days, and then we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you
So
guys
to
for
the
doing this.
quick aside,
Appreciate y'all. Oh yeah,
so
go
far
for it.
Masters has been won by 15 points or more, as far as actual Masters goes. So
Battle
that's
points or
pretty
overall?
hard for a late turn jump. So don't try to submarine if that's your strategy.
Damn it.
Down bubble.
If you're trying to wear a master, at least Paragon's a different story.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'm good.
Okay. Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all later.
All right,
Good
thanks.
night.